Welcome, everyone, welcome. Justin M. Bailey here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Justin M. Bailey. I'm a writer and a YouTuber, and I don't mind telling you at all that I am not a very social person at this time in my life. No, I'm not a very social person at all, and quite frankly, proud of it. So much so, in fact, that I pretty much look at socialization like a plague, because that's basically how it feels like to me at this juncture in my life, like a plague. Something to be avoided, something that when exposed to it, it pretty much makes me feel sick and lousy. I mean, on one hand, it's really simple mathematics here. I really like to read and write and think. And I really like making YouTube videos for you, the people. Other than my wife and daughter and puppy, these are the things I love most. These are the things that are most important to me. And obviously, if I'm out there socializing, wasting my increasingly decreasing amount of free time, the older you get, the less free time you have, kiddies. If I'm out there at Sherry and Terry's stupid cocktail party, or Bill and Jill's gay-ass barbecue, eating piss-poor frozen store-bought hot dogs and burgers all day like our fathers and our fathers before us, if I'm out there spending time at one of those awful, bore-me-to-tears family reunion event thingies, the weddings, the baby showers, the christenings, the hootenannies, the getting together for every frickin' holiday and birthday, Christ! Who the hell throws a birthday party for a 1-year-old? Seriously! If I go to all these things, then clearly that means less time that I could in fact be reading, writing, thinking, and making YouTube videos working on my craft. This stuff is not complicated. But even more so, to exacerbate things even further, just about everybody I know, which is pretty much family members by the way, I got rid of just about everybody else who once knew me. They'll never find your bones, Brian Robertson. But man, family members? Jeez, you just can't get rid of them, can you? And I swear to God, whenever I open my mouth to tell them something, to tell them, hey, I love to write novels and make YouTube videos, I swear to Jeebus. It's like instead they interpret what I just said to them to be, I think I'm Thor, God of Thunder, Slayer of Tiamat and future ruler of Asgard. So basically, when I tell them I think I'm a writer, they basically interpret it as me being a completely out of my mind, batshit crazy loony that is clearly suffering from some serious delusions of grandeur. I mean, who the hell do I think I am, Stephen King? And I honestly can't fully blame them for any of this, by the way, because most people who do in get fact involved with the so-called arts, and I really hate that word, by the way, art, more often than not, that's the appeal, because they feel that the art, whatever the hell that is, there's an art to everything. There's an art to selling hot dogs and farting in an elevator. They feel that art somehow makes them better than other people, but that's bullshit, and that ain't my bag, yo. That ain't my bag at all. I don't even look at what I do specifically as an art. I look at what I do as a craft. I look at what I do same as a dude who does carpentry or mason work. It's just that I don't mess with wood or cement. I mess with words and ideas. Otherwise, it's just the same thing, you know? Just different materials, different products. Yeah. And writing honestly doesn't make me feel like I'm superior to anybody else. It honestly makes me feel like I'm a schmuck half the time. It honestly makes me feel as if every time I sit down to write something, I have just in fact gotten in the ring with Brock Lesnar after I just called him a great big puss. Pussy puss! And you can imagine what happens from there. I get my ass kicked. Writing kicks my ass, and it's been kicking my ass for 11 years, and yet I still love it, because every now and then I get to land what feels like a pretty good, solid hit. And what could be better than that? It's quite the feeling of personal satisfaction. What could be better than that? Oh yeah, getting to talk about it with my friends and loved ones about it. I mean, honestly, I don't even get why they keep inviting me to stuff anymore. I don't get it. Do they just, want me there as a set dressing? I mean, it's like inviting a Catholic priest over for tea time, and yet you don't expect him to talk about that J.C. Christ guy at all, you know what I mean? I mean, really, what sounds more crazy here? The fact that a dude named Jimmy Christ was once the Son of God and the Messiah, and he got nailed to a bunch of 2x4s by Romans, and then he came back from the dead, and he's gonna come back from the dead again, and I don't know, take us all to a Baskin Robbins or something? Or the fact that a guy called Justin M. Bailey thinks that he's got some writing chops. I'll let you decide which sounds more cuckoo. So no, I'm not a very social person in my life right now, and I frankly don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. I'm basically like one of those monks that shuts himself off from most of society, so that way he can just focus on what he has to do every day and spend the rest of his time focusing on what matters most to him, his religion. Writing is my religion, if you ask me. Your true religion has absolutely nothing to do with where you park your butt on Sundays, should you choose to do so. Your religion, in actuality, is wherever you pour most of yourself into, your passion, your love, your time. That's your religion. I think our entire concept on religion is totally backwards. So much so that people will even resort to something as ridiculous as atheism to fill this spiritual void in your life. As many of you know, atheism is getting incredibly popular these days. And as you may or may not know, they get so offended whenever you call their spiritual foot fetish a religion. Don't call it a religion, you butt munch. But according to the definition I just gave you, if you are so passionate about atheism that that's one of the big focuses in your life, it's basically a religion. And it's someone saying like, I don't believe in God and I think all the conventional religions are stupid. I think all the conventional religions are adorable. Not stupid, but adorable. But anyways, I get that, but pouring so much of yourself, your life, and your passion and your time into it, that just seems ass backwards ridiculous to me. Like you have no idea. Can you just, I find atheism just so incredibly weird. The same as I just called it a spiritual foot fetish. That's basically it for me. I mean, like, I know I'm not alone on this. Isn't it kind of weird of all the sexy things in the world? Lips, tits, breasts, and ass. Like, people get turned on by feet? You know, really? Feet? I mean, like, okay, whatever melts your butter, but I mean, people get so spiritually energized by the fact that they don't think they're spiritual? It's just like, that, it just sounds crazy to me. Like, I don't know, it's like, it just sounds like an awful way to spend your time. I think anything other than atheism is a better way to spend your time. Oh my god, take up bowlingism or golfism. Anythingism. I mean, I think golf is a stupid sport. I think it's a horrible way to spend your weekends playing golf. I don't give myself some stupid title because I feel this way. I don't call myself an anti-golftologist, and I get together with other fellow anti-golftologists to talk about how this not playing golf on weekends has so fulfilled our lives, and how bad it is, and how stupid it is to spend your weekend. It's just, am I really alone on this? Seriously? Religion is inescapable. Praise Richard Dawkins. Religion is so much part of the human condition, the human experience, and I feel that the best way to really get in touch with yours, whatever it may be, is by, well, you guessed it. You gotta spend time with yourself, and sometimes a whole lot of time with yourself, which is, as I'm sure, as you may already know, that is something that most of us never ever like to do, save for the occasional psychopath. We hate being alone. We really hate it, and you know, pretty justifiably so. I mean, other than the Hannibal the cannibals of the world, we are not neurologically built to enjoy the experience of being alone at all. We're built to hate it, and fear it even. Seriously, we fear it more than just about anything really, because for most of human history, like 70,000 years of human history, if you were alone, if you got ostracized by the group, you were as good as dead. You were saber-toothed tiger chow, because for most of human history, no single person could survive for long on their own without the group, without the tribe. None of this is anything new. This isn't news to anyone. Therefore, still to this day, there are few things we fear more than being lonely or ostracized, because the world may have changed around us exponentially, but neurologically, we have not. Our society upgraded, but we did not, and we all still equate the feelings of being alone by ourselves, ostracized and alone, to the feeling of impending death. And who the hell would want to feel that all the time? Who would want to soak in that awful dish detergent day in and day out? And yet still, the way I look at it, you really have two choices here. Or I'm giving you two choices. A, you can spend almost all of your free time, almost all of the time, when you are not at school or at your job, constantly surrounding yourself with friends and family and good times and cocktail parties and backyard barbecues and Walking Dead season premiere parties. And I promise you that if you do this, you will rarely ever have to feel this awful, terrible feeling of being alone, I swear. You know, you will always have to conform and cater just about 90% of everything you do, 90% of your thoughts and actions to the needs of the group, because that is what the group requires. But once again, you will not have to endure that awful, terrible feeling that you are neurologically built to avoid and fear, most of all save spiders, sharks, and saber-toothed tigers. Or choice number B. Choice letter B. You can finally put on some big boy pants and realize that there are things way worse to feel and go through in life than just a little bit of loneliness and ostracization from time to time. How about regret? Regret is awful, man. Regret is the devil, if you ask me. Regret is 100 times worse than loneliness will ever be. Regret is my idea of hell, and I really don't want to burn in it any more than I already have. If you ask me, hell is not a place of fire and brimstones that you may have heard of at Sunday school. I loved it when we talked about hell in Sunday school. Surprise? If you ask me, hell is actually an old folks home. An old folks home with nothing to keep your sad butt company but your loneliness. Loneliness is inevitable, folks. Just ask Grandpa. It's waiting for everybody. And your regrets. Your I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you didn't because you chickened out and now you have no more time left. And I assure you, it will burn. It will burn, and it will stretch for what feels like an eternity between your sponge baths. Merry Christmas. And to make matters worse, if this hellish feeling potentially waiting down the line for most of us at the end is not bad enough, well, what about that feeling that's even more worse than regret? What about our addiction? What about the absolute #1 human addiction? What about our psychotic, never-ending, all-consuming, gluttonous, shameless, self-destructive addiction to understanding and attention? Our never-ending addiction to always constantly trying to get everyone to understand us and give us never-ending attention. We are all so freaking addicted to this. It's awful. And we will do anything, and I mean anything, to get it. I mean, geez, you think your average heroin junkie is bad at breaking into your house to steal your flat screen so he can score some more junk off the street? Well, what about what Hitler did? Christ, Hitler killed over 6 million people, and you know why? To get the understanding and attention that he thought Hitler and the Deutschland deserved and were not getting. Really, that's what it was all about. That's how bad and out of control this stuff can be. I mean, do we really not all see how incredibly cray-cray we can be when it comes to this stuff? Do we really not see how unspeakably all-consuming this is? And I pretty much think this addiction definitely goes hand in hand with just our obsession with the social in nature. I mean, I really think it's funny. I cannot tell you how insanely funny I think this is, that most people you will ever meet always think it's the money we're all about. You know, I mean, that's what we're all after in the end. You know what I mean? Money makes the world go round. Money is the answer to 99 out of 100 questions. And it's like, how can I describe how incredibly backwards and stupid I think this is? I guess the best way I can describe it is, I find this line of thinking to be the equivalent of telling me that you think the world is flat, or that you think the world is 6,000 years old. I made fun of the atheists. I gotta make fun of the born-again Christians too. Those guys are nuts. God, the world is not 6,000 years old. Okay, best example I can think of is like you telling me that the Confederate States of America and the Civil War itself was all about states' rights. That's what the Confederate States of America were after. States' rights, you know, that was the focus. Okay, well, states' rights to do what? Own slaves? Yeah, basically. That's the real reason why, and for us, it's pretty much the same with money. It's not the money you want. You don't want money, and you don't even want all those stupid trinkets that you might buy with it should you ever get enough. The fancy clothes, and the sports cars, and the nerd memorabilia posted all over your walls. You are so much more about what you think these things will afford you. All the good times, and all the backyard barbecues, and cocktail parties, sure, but most importantly of all, what you think these things are gonna get you, and that is understanding and attention. You know, more than anything, we all just want everybody to understand us, and yet we spend 0 time trying to understand ourselves, and it's like, please tell me this sounds crazy to you. I mean, who can get to know you better than you? And plus, if you don't understand yourself, how the hell do you expect anybody else to? You know, but the problem we keep coming back to is the only way you're ever gonna understand yourself is by spending time with yourself, which means you gotta spend time alone. You gotta learn to live alone. You gotta learn to live without understanding and attention. You know, get that monkey off your back. So in conclusion, these are your 2 options, the way I see them. So take a pick, but honestly, I say, just bite the bullet and go with B. And no, I don't think anybody listening should take this to the extreme I have, where they should just suddenly, live like a monk, shut off from just about everybody, avoiding your family like the plague, because I think there's dangers in me doing this. Yeah, definitely. But anyways, no, I don't think you should do it that way. What I will say is, I promise you this. If you just learn to socialize just a little less, and maybe instead start spending time by yourself, learning to do something, learning how to play guitar, or go out in some hikes in the woods, learn how to grow tomatoes in your backyard, or build rocking chairs in your basement, or a giant Lego city in your basement perhaps. If you just learn to spend more time by yourself, getting to know yourself better, doing something that challenges you, something that you struggle with in some way, you might eventually discover exactly what you're all about. You might eventually discover exactly what your religion is. And the funny thing here, I swear to God, the more you get to know yourself, the more other people are gonna want to get to know you. The more joy you have, the more joyful of a person you have and become, more people are gonna want to be around you. So even if your main objective is once again, get all the understanding and get all the attention and have good times with the group, well, if you take some time to do this, this will make all those things better. You can't lose with this. You gotta do it, man. So I'm Justin M. Bailey. Cheers! And I would love to end it here, but interestingly enough, something has just recently changed in my life, honestly, as far as all this stuff goes. Just last Sunday, I got a call from my mom out of the blue, and she called to tell me that she and my dad actually sat down to listen to the first 3 chapters of my audio novel, The Dungeon, and she could not have been more complimenting or encouraging. It was so nice. We had a wonderful conversation, and she sounded genuinely excited, asking me a dozen questions about, just how I can get it published and how I can get it moving and all that. And it was nice. I mean, it's kind of nice when your parents think you're a little less crazy, right? It's nice when your parents encourage you. It's nice when your loved ones encourage you. I've worked pretty hard on all this. Just go ask Brock Lesnar. And it's not even as if I need people to show me interest in all this all the time at all, parents or otherwise. I think one thing strangely, when she called and gave me such nice compliments, it was like this really fantastic affirmation that, as crazy as it sounds, it kind of feels like I'm doing the right thing, because if there's one thing I've totally gotten out of being an absolute failure for the past 5 or 6 years, barely getting any understanding or attention at all, pretty much the opposite actually, well, I think I've learned to live without that. I think I've learned to live without all that stuff, okay? I think that now, thanks to this process of getting my ass kicked over and over and over again, on the rare occasions where I do actually get somebody say something nice and genuine about me or my work, I think I've really learned to appreciate it, and I think get my money's worth out of it. Best example I could come up with is, I think as far as I am with understanding and attention now, it's kind of like how desert cactuses are with water, they can survive with only a little bit of it and be okay, you know what I mean? So that's nice. That feels like getting a real monkey off your back, and yeah, I want understanding and attention just as much as everybody. I want everybody to know about my work. But it's nice to know that I can live without the stuff okay and just keep pressing on, you know what I mean? For me, it's a nice affirmation that I think I'm gonna be doing this all for a very, very long time. Even if I never break 200 subscribers, or even if nobody ever reads The Dungeon but Dr. Mel. Shut up, Dr. Mel! You suck! Get off my porch! So, thank you, Mom and Dad, thank you. And maybe, at least with you two, I will try to be a little more social from time to time. There's no way in hell you're getting me to another family reunion event, but yes, I think I'll start hanging out with my mom and dad just a little more. And I hope to God, I hope if you ever somehow listen to this opinion piece, I hope to God you listen all the way to the end, or you are going to think I'm the biggest asshole on the planet. So, oh God, yep, here's hoping you listen all the way to the end. So, thank you, everybody. Bye.
They'll never find your bones, Brian Robertson.